Hi, I'm Katie Couric. Welcome to Eye to Eye. When a St. Louis teacher adopted one of his students, he gave this former gang member a chance to start over. Now, 8 years later, Bob Hansman's adopted son is giving back. Steve Hartman spoke to the unlikely pair about the importance of family and second chances.
It's just weird the way things worked out, that you happened to be down there that day.
It was weird that anybody would bring any type of program with no help, no friends, no people passing out flyers, or he didn't even walk up and knock on doors and tell people what he had going on and what was getting ready to get started. He just came, parked his Jeep in front of Guardian Angels, broke out some boards and drawing pads and pencils and waited for people to come over. He just got so close to us, and it was like, if he wasn't around, there was no telling what one of us would end up doing. So
but it was mayhem down there.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a nightmare for him.
Yep.
And he really only had to come once a week, right?
Yep. And didn't have to do that.
Didn't even have to do that?
Yeah, he could have just stopped at any time.
But he started coming more?
Yep. Oh, he even tried to move in. He tried to get an apartment in the Peabody's public housing. They told him he made too much money, so he couldn't get an apartment down there. So
wow. Now, if you guys were just going to go cause hell during his art class, why did you even show up?
We didn't know. We didn't know. It was a lot of young black men trying to put egos aside and pay attention to this professor from WashU because we can learn something from him. And then he was taking us places we've never been before. He was doing things for us that our fathers should have done, that some of us knew, but even the ones that didn't know the fathers didn't do what Bob did for us. So it was almost like a kind of an honor for him to come down there and us to be a part of whatever he had going on. But at the same time, we had to put egos aside because our enemies are sitting right next to us.
He really wasn't getting something he needed. And it took a long time, it took years after that before I really got to understand what that was. And
did he tell you, or did you figure it out?
I think when he asked to move in with me,
yeah,
I was kind of surprised at the time that it was him, And he didn't actually quite ask up front. He just asked me to come out and stay, and I kind of thought, a day or the night or the weekend or something, right? And he just, he's like Monday rolls around, he's still there. And,
oh, really?
Okay, yeah, it's like, okay, Joanne, and in a while, it's like, I just kind of said, well, looks like you might be for a while. Do you want your own room? And he said, yeah, right. And I don't know, he might have told you this, but because he didn't tell me till years later. But he said, when I first gave him that room, he said he would just like sit behind his door, right, and just pray that I wouldn't throw him out, because that's the thing. He grew up wanting a father, and I had no idea initially that he saw me as even potential for that. I don't know when that all kind of clicked in his mind.
Can you tell me about when he came to you and he mentioned the A word for the first time?
Adoption? Oh God, that was a great moment, and it's actually one we remember almost identically. I think I was just sitting at the kitchen table, and he came into the room there, and just pretty much out of the blue, as far as I can remember, just sort of said, something must have precipitated, but basically I think he just kind of said out of the blue, have you ever thought of adopting me? And I was flabbergasted because I had.
Oh, you had?
I had. And by that point I had. This was a couple of years into it. And I was really thinking seriously about it. I was like, man, this is working out. It was difficult, right? But I didn't know any parents that didn't have difficult times with their kids. My parents had difficult times with me. Yeah. So I said, yeah, I had thought about it, but I had no idea what you thought. And so I had never brought it up. And at that point, we just started talking about it. It was very easy at that point. It was just like, well, then let's do it. The amazing thing is people that don't get it, they think you sacrificed the life you would have had, you sacrificed most of the money you would have had. You sacrificed so much. And I think, no, The sacrifice would have been to not do that. You know, to not work with these kids, to not adopt Javon. That would have been the worst sacrifice. I couldn't. Ugh, that would have been horrible. So I feel deeply rewarded. The life I almost can't remember the life I had before him and the other kids.
He says he had no life before. I asked him to sum up, you know, what you gave him. He said life.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel very similar. I mean, I don't think I really understood what life was about. For him, I shouldn't understand what love is about.
My feet are a lot bigger than his, but I'm trying to squeeze my foot in those footsteps. But it's hard. I wanted to do something for him. He saved my life, changed my life, gave me a father, and gave me the talent I have. So I'm like, what? How could you repay somebody like that? You know, and he's just like, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to do whatever makes you happy. I'm like, I don't even know what makes me happy. I mean, what you did for me, that's making me happy. So I'm like, well, okay, we got this studio in the Peabody's. Nobody's using it anymore. I guess I should try to do something. So, like when I go down there, like the kids, I didn't even know the kids in the projects knew me as the artist that owned that studio. I didn't know that. So when I went down there one time, I opened it up and we were just in there drawing and had hot dogs and stuff in there for them and soda. And I mean, I'm like, when they see me over here with the door open, they fly over. So they gave me this whole idea. I'm like, well, Bob was too busy. And we still had a studio, still called City Faces. It's a memorial for Jermaine Lamont Roberts. I mean, well, you know, I'm not doing nothing. You know, who knows? Maybe I can try to do what Bob did for us and have my own program.
And what if one of them comes up to you and says, will you adopt me?
I'll let Bob do it. I'll let Bob do it.